Dumb,
Cool,
and weird.
podcast. All right, folks, welcome to the Dumb, Cool, Weird podcast. I'm Wes,
and I'm Nick.
and it's just me and him today.
I don't like this seat, by the way.
No,
That seat is my seat, so that's why I like it better, but I understand we have to look pretty for the camera.
yeah. So, I mean, it's just me and you today, so it kind of makes sense for us to be next to each other right here.
Yeah, I should have brought a booster seat. Satan's really tall.
Yeah, how tall is he?
Well, tall enough to ride all the big kid rides.
Yeah. What about you? You can't ride the big kid rides?
No, I'm like 5 foot nothing, so it's terrible. I can hide in a lot of overhead storage compartments, though.
Yeah.
So it all works out for me.
That's good.
If I'm really lucky and I dress up the right way, I can get a kid's meal for free.
Well, good to know.
Unfortunately, a lot of people think I'm like a Middle Eastern child with a beard.
Oh, well, that's not good.
Yeah, it gets a little bit weird at airports.
Well, today, we're recording a little bit later because I had to go to the hospital.
Yes.
I was not feeling too good. Apparently, because of withdrawals from certain substances, not going to go into that, I mimicked some of the effects that some people have with neurological problems.
Yes.
So, me and Nick actually were at the hospital, and we'd like to announce that we're actually going to be releasing at the end of every month a compilation of all of our BTS stuff.
Yeah.
It'll be on our YouTube channel and our Rumble, which, by the way, we're on Rumble now for people who like Rumble.
Yep.
But, yeah, we're just going to have more content for you guys, and it's just going to be a little bit of a behind-the-scenes type stuff for you guys to watch, so hopefully you'll enjoy it. But anyway, getting back to this, so basically what we're doing today is we're going to talk about stress and how stress affects us. This is a big topic. I kind of wish we had a guest to talk about this with, but obviously we can talk about it more in the future. But we're going to call this personal stress that we deal with on the regular.
And goals to get rid of it, honestly.
Yeah. So, one of the things I want to talk about is, I've been dealing with a lot of stress lately is because I've been thinking about moving and, with this inflation thing, it's been kind of hard to keep up with bills, and that's been causing me a lot of stress. And I've been trying to find new ways to cope with my stress, and, I don't really play video games like I used to, so that's kind of difficult.
Yeah.
Not playing video games anymore.
Well,
so
I found the most positive thing that I do is I go to the gym now on Thursdays. Well, physical fitness in general is what I do every day. It's just on Thursdays I do the Torture Thursdays with Satan.
Yeah.
So we were at the gym yesterday for 3 hours, and we did incline bench press. So what we did was we started at 180 pounds. We did 10 sets of 2. We originally were going to go with the whole 180 and see until we get bored, but that got boring real quick, and we realized we wanted to get to 4 plates or above.
Yeah.
We did it. I won. I defeated Satan.
That's good. Did he give you a golden fiddle?
No, but he has another notch on his belt of losses.
Gotcha.
He's been beaten in Georgia twice. Once by a little redneck kid with a fiddle, and now against a Canadian.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can go for number 3.
I can do it.
Yeah. You should outdrink him.
That's not happening.
Yeah.
We saw what happened last week when I had too much to drink.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so one of the things I'm going to try not to do is I'm going to try not to drink anymore. That's one of the things I'm going to do to, kind of alleviate a lot of my stress because, for people who don't know, drinking alcohol can actually lead to a lot of stress, because it puts a lot of strain on your body and it can put your body through some rough patches, basically, Some people handle alcohol better than others. I just don't really handle alcohol that well. And it's like I was telling you earlier, Nick, I think I get it from my mom. My mom told me when she was in her late 20s that she basically quit drinking altogether because she just felt like she couldn't handle it anymore. It caused her anxiety, depression, and all kinds of other things. And I wonder if some of the things I'm going through is something that my mom went through. I share most of my genetics with my dad, but my dad and my mom are different people. And, I'm half my mom, half my dad. So it makes sense,
Well, honestly, I'm going to try and stop the drinking too for the same reasons because it's getting in the way of some of my other goals.
Yeah, substance abuse can pile on with the stress that you have in life, and it can cause you to not want to do things because you drink too much or you do too many drugs or whatever your vice is to the point where you just don't feel like you want to do anything else for the rest of the day, and it can kind of impede on your ability to do other things.
Yeah.
So
It gets a little bit depressing at times because at the end of the day, we're trying to get a little bit better in our own personal lives.
yeah,
And like you said, alcohol is just slowing us down.
absolutely.
Now, of course, I still got some beers in the fridge. I'm probably going to get rid of those. And after that, for a while, I think I'm going to be down or I'm just going to drink if I'm with like good company. I
Yeah,
can't drink like I did last time because honestly, that party drinking is what kills me.
yeah,
And it brings out a side of me that I don't like.
understand that.
Yeah, I'm an asshole. And when I drink like that, I really become an asshole.
Yeah, so you're trying not to be like that.
Yeah, because that person's a bad person.
I understand. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I don't turn into a bad person when I get really drunk. I just don't like the way I feel after the fact.
I also don't like the blacking out portion
Yeah,
because I don't remember that podcast at all.
yeah,
And watching it today, watching our other recording with our previous guest, I was like, oh shit, that's bad.
yeah. You're kind of being mean to him.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, that's the worst part is when you can tell yourself, "It's like, man, I'm not surprised by what I saw there." That's why I told you, it's like the Edward 40 hands thing should not happen.
yeah. Well, I'm glad you're able to realize that. That's part of the battle, right?
Well, yeah, that, and I mean, I also realized that, like you were talking about with your alcohol use and the fact that you take a lot from your mom, I'm kind of an anomaly because no one in my family drinks like I do.
Yeah,
So when it comes to drinking, I did a lot of my heavier drinking when I was in the military.
yeah,
I mean, I drank a little bit in college, but not as heavy as I did when I was in the military. And then when I got out, I was able to go through like a 30 rack pretty easily without having to get drunk.
yeah,
So walking around drinking 10 beers a day or more and barely feeling a buzz, and we're talking on an empty stomach, that's weird.
yeah,
But at the same time, I was also pretty fat because of all that drinking.
yeah,
And that's another thing. Why would I want to be fat right now? Like, because I'm trying to do a lot of other things in my life. As like having this extra weight on me is no good. So that's why I'm bulking up with these Duke's Hot and Spicy.
yeah. Is that today's sponsor?
Today's not sponsor, who should be our sponsor, is Duke's. All right, that's 7 grams of protein for 2 sticks. I've already had 4. That's 14 grams of protein. If we keep going, I'm bulking.
Yeah, nice.
And I'm having a nice orange juice here. A failed but delicious drink experiment right here. It tastes like citrus butthole. I love it.
Yum. Yeah, I feel bad that didn't turn out the right way. I knew exactly what I did wrong as soon as it was done fermenting and I smelled it. I was like, I knew exactly what I did wrong.
It's okay though because this is breakfast beer. Like you've actually created a breakfast beer, accidentally.
It's interesting. I mean, I guess you could look at it like that. I just, I don't know. It's a little disappointing because you have like you have like an idea kind of going into it, and then it didn't turn out the way you wanted it to. But that's all right. I'll survive.
I look at it like this way. When life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Throw
Yeah.
that shit at ongoers in traffic, and see what happens when the lemon smashes against their car.
Okay, we'll do that.
Yeah, it's a bad idea, but we definitely should.
We
We went to the hospital today, so that was fun.
Yeah, it was.
Wasn't really fun, but we did watch Lost. Well, we watched the Hawaii Five-0 show with the fat guy from Lost.
Yeah.
So it's Lost 2.0.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, we got to sit and chat about life and stuff, and we were trying to figure out what we wanted to do about the podcast today because we actually weren't even sure we were going to be able to film it. It really depended on how long it was going to take us at the hospital, but we actually got in and got out pretty quickly.
That's what happens when you have good insurance, though. They don't want to kill you.
Yeah. Yeah, like I learned today that, while I may not have like the best insurance, I still have way better insurance than most people. So that was a good feeling.
Way better than me.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's good to know.
You have to have better insurance than some of your co-hosts So if one of them dies, you can get a new personality.
Yeah. But yeah, basically, I went to the hospital and I thought I had some neurological issues, and basically they told me I was okay, and I got my paperwork, and I still got the wristband on right now, and everything turned out okay, and kind of like, I had some other stuff planned for tonight, but stuff's not happening tonight, so that's okay. Life happens, but we'll make it. You know. I do know what's really going to reduce my stress is when I move back to Dawsonville. So, for those who don't know, the podcast is actually going to be moving. We are moving from Atlanta up to Dawsonville. So we're going to be recording in North Georgia. We're still, when people talk to us though, we're still gonna rep Atlanta, just so people have an idea of a general location where we're going to be at.
Because no one's going to really know where we're at.
Yeah, but for people who don't know, Dawsonville is actually about 50 minutes north of Atlanta. So we're basically near Atlanta anyway. I mean, we live in Dawsonville is part of what we call Metro Atlanta. It's basically like the metropolitan area, Atlanta area. And all that means in this area is if you're within an hour of Atlanta, you're basically in Metro Atlanta, basically.
Yeah, so. Now looking back at it, I don't really think I hang out in places that aren't in this area.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, right now the podcast is in the heart of Atlanta. We're literally in Midtown, which is right next to downtown, which is basically the heart of Atlanta. But
this place eats our soul.
Yeah, basically. But I know my stress is going to go down when I move back up there because that area actually makes me feel good for some fucking reason. Every time I go up there, I always feel better. I don't know if it's because
you're closer to me.
Yeah, probably because I'm closer to you.
Yeah. And it will decrease some of my stress because I won't have to drive over here.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be like a 20-minute ride instead of like an hour and some change.
Yeah, we can actually, hang out
Yeah.
and go do stuff because downtown Gainesville and downtown Dawsonville doesn't close at 10 o'clock on a Friday night.
That's true, which is really weird.
Yeah, Atlanta for some reason shuts down at 9 o'clock and then officially shuts down at 10 o'clock. It's starting to really cramp our style out here.
Yeah, it is really bizarre. I know Atlanta. I know in Dawsonville, where I'm going to be living at, a lot of those places don't really close till like 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, because they don't believe in COVID.
Yeah, probably not.
You want to know why COVID kills business?
No.
Because people believe in it.
Well, there you go, folks. Straight from the man himself. You heard it here first.
Hey, we didn't lose enough in this plague, all right? I'm saying 3 billion and the trees will come back.
Yeah. Fair enough, dude.
I mean, you can plant 4 million trees. It's not going to matter with all the people.
Yeah.
It's like we were talking about earlier while we were in the hospital. One kid is already a problem for climate.
Yeah. Yeah, I read a study many years ago about what affects the environment the most, and they actually found that one child being born contributes more to climate change than all the stuff that supposedly contributes to climate change the most over the course of that kid's life. And it's like, I think it's like 100-fold or something like that.
Well, it's kind of like we were talking about when we were going to school originally, and like those people from the we're just going to call them the anti-abortion folks.
Yeah.
Would come in and they'd always be screaming about how, why are the sea turtles protected? Why are the bald eagles protected? Why are the polar bears protected? Just sitting there in the back of my head, I'm like, because they're an endangered species that actually benefits the ecosystem. Human beings can grow up to just be average or below average for the most part.
Pretty much.
Like everything you love in life, just think about it. Your parents probably thought at one point, they're like, this is probably going to turn out bad 9 times out of 10.
Yep. And it did.
Well, it's kind of like something I was talking about earlier this week, which kind of adds on to my stress.
Yeah.
Because my wife and I eventually want to have kids. And this is kind of what stresses me out, is knowing that the bar is so low for what makes your kid great.
Yeah.
Like people are like, oh, well, my son knows how to operate an iPad and an iPhone better than me. I'm like, oh, that's terrible. You mean it knows how to do the basic functions of pushing buttons?
Yeah, that's embarrassing.
I thought your brag was going to be like, oh, my child who's in kindergarten reads at like a second grade reading level. You know, like something that you can actually measure in success.
Nope.
No. Well, my child knows how to play Candy Crush better than me. Oh, you better kill that thing immediately. It's going to be Satan.
Yeah, I don't even know how to play Candy Crush. I don't even know what the fuck that is.
I don't. I play.
I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is.
I play real video games.
Yeah.
Like Halo and Red Dead Redemption and Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. What about there's another one people used to play back in the day called Fruit Ninja. It was literally you just sliced fruit up.
That was such mindless fun that I can understand why a generation has been stunted.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Now, you know what we should do? We should do real life Fruit Ninja
Yeah.
to relieve our stress, where we start like throwing food at each other and we have a really sharp knife and we see where it goes.
Sounds like some Gallagher shit.
Yeah, you see, but Gallagher had fun with a hammer and only watermelons. What we're going to do is we're going to make it weird. I'm going to throw a banana at you and see if you can like cut it.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to throw a watermelon at you and see if you can cut it. And then I'm going to throw a pineapple at you.
Can we see if you can cut the mustard?
Most likely.
Yeah. Because I can't cut the mustard, dude.
No.
I like mustard too much to cut it. It's my baby.
Yeah, maybe you should drink it.
Actually, I have drank mustard before.
That's not the weirdest thing I've heard.
No. The weirdest thing I've heard is I dated a girl who used to eat mayonnaise straight out the jar, so that made me want to throw up.
That's disgusting.
I know. It made me want to throw up.
I'm glad that story was used to, and not like those people who are like, I met this one girl who used to eat mayonnaise out of the jar, and then I married that girl. She still does it today, and she's fat.
Oh, my God. She's still fat.
I like it.
I love it. You make me sick.
You disgusting, beautiful whore. I think we've realized how to get rid of our stress.
Yeah. Just talk about the things that make us stressed.
Yeah, or, laughter. It's the best medicine. Not for burn victims, though.
Yeah.
Burn victims don't have a sense of humor.
Yeah, those female nurses in that were really pretty.
Yes, they were.
Yeah. Yeah, I was pretty impressed with that.
I think she was looking at your crotch.
Damn.
I'm telling you, man, you're like, your dick is outlined on the sweatpants perfectly to where I'm like, she could definitely see his dick.
Well, the thing is, like, I was just impressed with how good a shape they were all, man.
Yeah, I know. The ones that usually I go to,
yeah,
they're fat Karens.
Yeah, all of them, they were in shape. All had like a Fitbit or something on their wrists, and they look like they go to the gym all the time, and they have like perfectly manicured fingers.
Well, you see, I like BBWs, but the thing is that most of the women near the hospitals that I have to go to aren't BBWs. They're just like ugly fat chicks.
Well, the thing is, any of those women at that hospital that we saw tonight, they would all be really good like partners or housewives or just like like maybe not a housewife, but maybe
I was gonna say housewife. I mean, you can be a stay-at-home dad.
Well, I didn't mean housewife. I guess what I meant to say was they'd be a really good wife. They'd be like a really good partner. They'd be good. They'd be like a good support system because they seem like
someone that you can also talk to.
Yeah, because they were very easy to talk to. They were very, very nice. They also have a sense of humor. They probably make pretty good money working at Emory, hospital. They probably...
You would hope so.
And the fact that they're that dedicated to their job means that they work hard.
They were doing great. Like, oh, you were gone, and even you can hear them in the background. The way they're interacting with patients was great.
Oh, so, they do their job, and, it's beautiful. And my nurse, she was a Mercer graduate. And, I was telling her, my friend that I went to high school with, she became a pharmacist. She went to Mercer. So, makes good money now. Lives in Dawsonville, actually.
You know what makes me jealous?
What's up?
I was stupid enough to keep pursuing a history degree. I actually told myself I'm going to be a teacher, and about like a month ago, I kept listening to all the people in my classes.
Yeah.
I finally realized it's not getting better. These kids are actually dumber.
Yeah. I feel that.
Like, I don't care if you're like conservative or liberal or anything. It's just the fact that it's like I've noticed that so many people are so stupid and brainwashed that they will tell you the talking points they heard on TV or something that their parents said.
That makes sense.
And it's actually really depressing because you're like, I want to believe that you can be smart and question things, but you just believe in your own narrative. It's like you're playing a video game and you've decided that this is the quest line you're going down.
Yep. That's usually how it be.
Okay, but the funniest thing I learned today is what happened at our school earlier this week.
Yeah.
Okay, so this like the cooking staff at the school was talking about how they had to explain furries to one of their friends because kids stay in the army. He's stationed in the West Coast. You know, the weirdos are fucking weird, and there's furries everywhere. And
FYI, folks, Nick is not a big fan of furries.
No.
He's made that very, very clear.
I also don't believe pansexuals are real.
Yeah, he's made that very clear too.
They're bisexuals with extra steps and a fun title.
Gotcha. So finish your story.
So anyway, then we got into the topic because we were talking about fetish stuff then, right? And I kind of brought up some of the stuff we were talking about, which then led us to learning that earlier in the week, this tall, kind of like looks like she was getting ready to be in a bodybuilding show. Woman had her boyfriend, and I say that loosely because apparently he was in very feminine clothing and was looking very feminine.
Wait, was he cross-dressing?
That's what it sounded like.
Okay. Did you see these people?
No. But the people that work there in the student center,
Yeah.
they saw them, and they saw this woman have this guy on a leash.
Mm-hmm.
I thought to myself, I was like, this would have been a great day to like take a picture for the podcast.
Yeah, the thing is, like, most people don't know this about me, but I'm into a lot of that stuff too, and I find it very interesting that that's becoming more common on that campus because, when I was with Willow, me and Willow would do stuff like that, but we didn't do it in public like that. We did it, like, behind closed doors and stuff.
You see, that was what we were discussing, though. Is like a lot more people are okay with just putting that shit out there.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly a fan, necessarily. It's kind of because I've noticed a lot of people who put that stuff out there. They're always like, why doesn't society understand us? It's like, how is society supposed to understand why you're walking your boyfriend on a fucking leash?
Well, the thing is, like, it can be fun to do some public humiliation stuff. I've done that stuff before. But the thing is, like, you got to be careful who's watching you because you never know who's watching you. And you don't know who is going to know you in the future because, as much as I loved doing those things back when I was younger, I wouldn't want, say, like, people at my company that I work at knowing that I do that stuff because who knows what the fuck they would think or who knows what they would do, and I don't want to go down that road, and that's why, like, people that are like that, I encourage them to be a little bit careful about that, and that's not just for the guy that's on the leash, but it's the girl leading them on the leash, because
she can get into a lot of trouble for that later down the road.
Yeah, you just never know, and like I said, I really love that community, and I love doing that stuff with people, and it's a lot of fun. The thing is, you just got to be careful because you never know, and it sucks. It sucks. It really does. It sucks that people don't or judge stuff like that and are against stuff like that. I really, really don't like it when people. I don't agree when people kink shame. Like, for instance, I know you don't like furries.
Yeah.
I don't really care what furries do. They can do whatever the fuck they want. I don't really care.
I mean, I don't care what they do. I don't care what they do. It's just like.
But I know you don't like them.
Yeah.
And that's me.
Maybe it's also because the furries that we knew in school left a bad taste in my mouth.
I understand that.
Because I think those people that we knew in school were the reason why I don't like furries.
Well, maybe you should meet some new furries.
I mean, you haven't introduced me to any.
I know like a few. I mean, Willow was kind of a furry.
She's cool though.
But she never really, like, I don't know, she never really put it out there, I guess, but anyway.
Willow was just cool, so I could her being a furry doesn't bother me. I guess it's because the weirdos that the weirdos that we knew who were furries
Yeah.
were really fucking weird about it.
Yeah. I got you.
And it got uncomfortable because they always tried to put it in your face.
No, I get that. But what was I gonna say? I was just gonna say that when it comes to kink, I will never kink shame somebody for what they do. The only time I'm ever gonna do that is if it's something that's illegal, like animals or kids. Go fuck yourself if you do that stuff.
Well, at
Seriously.
that point, we should just get the good old wood chipper out. Or, I got a great one. We dress up like Roman soldiers, and we crucify them.
Yeah. I'm right there with you.
I think it'd be pretty funny to watch one screaming, why do you get me on this cross, bro? They just start nail gunning their wrist to the cross.
It's like, you sit up on that cross, bitch.
Yeah, you die.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
It helps relieve the stress, by the way.
Oh, good. But yeah, but yeah, that's what all I was gonna say is that that's where I draw the line is when it's like really illegal stuff. That's like people can't consent. Animals can't consent. Kids can't consent. But moving on from that, when it comes to stress in life, I think that the best thing that we can do is we got to figure out a good balance. And the problem is life has been pretty stressful for a while now because of the way things have been going in the world.
And you know what? It gets to the point where we're just trying to figure out if we're going the right path. Like, I mean, I have a lot of regrets right now, and it's kind of giving me a lot of stress with the fact that I pursued my degree that I started before I joined the military. So now I'm actually feeling a lot of regret because I found out what I really like doing has to do with like helping people in terms of like personal training and things like that.
Yeah.
So if I could go back and do it again, I would have probably done what's the scientific term? It was like kinesthesiology.
Yeah.
And do like a minor in nutrition.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because I actually like watching people get stronger. I like helping people. Like, I've been doing this with my wife. Like, I put her on a program and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's exciting for me to watch somebody be happy with the fact that they're progressing versus if I'm trying to teach people. Like, the thing I find about like trying to teach people anything about history is the fact that everyone tries to come up with some contemporary bullshit, or they come up with a what if scenario, and it's like that's not what this is about. You can't work with that kind of shit.
Yeah.
But that's what people are consumed by. They basically want a fan fiction history, or they interpret it the way that they want to, versus what the dates, the people, and so on and so forth tells you. And it just, like I said, when you realize the generation that's coming out bit by bit every time, it brings you more stress knowing that you wasted your time with a degree that was more of a passion for your personal time rather than a passion in something you want to see as a career.
Well, that's what I was telling this guy earlier because I'm doing my documentary. Monday we actually we got some interviews we got to get. We're gonna go to a college campus over here and we're gonna interview some younger kids. I guess you could say they're like between the ages of like I don't know, probably like
18 to 25 are probably.
Yeah. So they'll probably be Generation Z, but like, one of the things we're probably going to encounter is, they're going to have some really weird expectations for life. And I was talking to a guy today, he's 27 and he went back to school recently and he's trying to get through his degree. And, he's like a later millennial. And,
so like 96.
Yeah, 96. Yeah, something like that. And, he's finishing up his degree, and I told him, I was like, looking back on it now, I would tell someone to start working in the film industry at 18 or 19, and he was like, that's exactly what I was thinking. If I was younger, that's probably what I would have done. He said he would have done the Georgia Film Academy for a year or two, which is cheap, and went straight in, which is what I recommend.
I honestly told myself that what I should have done was I should have joined the military when I was 19 years old, rather than waiting until I was 22, 23 years old.
My honest opinion?
Yeah.
If I could do it all over again, I would have been a bioengineer.
Yeah.
Just being honest with you. I mean, looking at the amount of money you make, it's worth it. A bioengineer makes $200K a year. You know,
That sounds
easy,
pretty good.
easy, and it's good money, and it's really not that hard. You work 40 hours a week, you're in and you're out, and you know, as long as you get your work done, nobody really gets on you too bad, you know, and
I
it's
don't
good
think we
money.
would be here though.
We wouldn't. I would probably be pretty wealthy right now, and I'd probably have. I'd honestly still probably be with my ex-girlfriend that I was with like for 5 years, honestly.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. And that's why I say it's like you kind of look back at these things and you say, well, what if I did it this way? It's like, it would have been a lot smarter though for myself to just scrap my original degree and go back to school and like instead of getting back into school as fast as I did,
Yeah,
wait a year.
my girlfriend would have been a lawyer, and I would have been a bioengineer, and between the two of us, we'd be making $500,000 a year, and we'd probably be pretty wealthy. We'd probably be pretty happy. We'd probably do a lot of things. But the thing is, like, maybe in another universe, because you know, multiverse theory is a thing.
Yeah, that's true.
We probably did those things, but like in this universe, probably what's going to happen is we're going to do this podcast. I'm going to do my other stuff, and you know, we're going to do the business stuff that we're going to do with Satan because you know Satan's a good person to do business with.
Yeah, he's great, and he doesn't even want our souls.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll probably be successful with this. So in that universe, I'm successful. In this universe, just successful later, a little bit later. You know.
That's how I'm seeing it. Like, I think this is all just a lot of learning. So I know what to do with when I have kids. Because, like I said, my plan is to have kids. And like I said, this is kind of the stuff that stresses me out because I think about how am I going to try and steer them in the right direction.
What's the thing? If you have kids and this podcast ends up being really successful, we're making like a lot of money. I don't know. What are you gonna do with them? I know you're probably not gonna give them money all the time.
No, I'm gonna put them in a fucking private school and tell them to figure it the fuck out because even if I send them to a public school, my whole idea was to never let them think that they were gonna get any of my money.
Yeah.
And honestly, they don't deserve it.
Well, let me ask you this.
Past the basic needs, of course. Like if they said they wanted to go to school and they wanted to pursue something in STEM,
yeah,
I'd be all for giving them that money. But if they said they wanted to be a artist of some sort, I'm going to tell them, all right, go to the military and figure it the fuck out afterwards because I'm not paying for that.
Yeah, and they do the military for 4 years and they can go get that art degree paid for by themselves, if they really want that.
And then they can learn to be unsuccessful again.
Yeah. Absolutely. One thing I was going to say, being that, I know you said your wife doesn't like you being gone all the time. I mean,
yeah.
How is she going to react if this does take off? Because if it does take off, like really take off, I mean, we're going to be busy a lot.
Well, it's kind of the cold reality like when I was in the military, right?
Yeah.
There was always that possibility to be gone for a long period of time, and there's been a couple of times where I was gone for long periods of time. So it's like, it's just get over it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the coldest way to put it, but it's like I look at how my dad built his success, right?
Yeah.
Working for a company. He's gone now 3 weeks out of the month at times.
Yeah.
Or he can even be gone longer, just doing what he has to do.
Yeah.
And I respect my mom for what she does because she knew what she was getting into when she married my dad. Of course, she had her hardships with it. Nobody has an easy time when their spouse is gone all the time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's also a basic understanding that, hey, I might be stressed out here at home, but he's also probably stressed out over there.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I was gone away from my wife for like 6 months, and I was pretty stressed.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, it's like I'm doing what I got to do. You got to find some kind of happy medium.
Mm-hmm.
I found out that when I was gone for 6 months, I just got more serious about physical fitness and drinking.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the drinking. I became a pro athlete at drinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I
became a professional.
Yeah, I was a pro. I could have gone pro, man. Like, if coach only put me in, we would have made state.
No, it's too bad, isn't it?
It is. Got to go back to 2018.
Absolutely. But yeah, I guess I was just wondering kind of how that would go because I know that probably put a lot of stress on a relationship. But the thing is, like, you got to make the money to keep the ball rolling,
Well, I also look at it this way, though, right? She's rolled with the punches
Yeah.
for years now, so it's like she understands that if I've got to travel, she's not gonna like it, but she's gonna get used to it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna say, don't go make money that feeds us?
Yeah.
Don't go make the money that pays our rent or pays our mortgage in the future? That wouldn't make sense either. I want to, like, it's like when people say, I remember, sorry, this kind of actually reminds me back when, like, MTV had really shitty shows and now they just have complete garbage.
Yeah.
But back when they had 16 and Pregnant on there,
Yeah.
there was this one guy who was, like, getting an opportunity. I think he was, like, 18 years old. He knocked up a 16-year-old.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And the craziest fucking thing was this kid was being offered a position as a truck driver, which, by the way, makes you pretty good money, you know?
Yeah.
If you're, like, that young and have a kid. As I don't want to be that far away from my family. And the worst part is, it was always, like, these really white trash families with these, like, 16 and pregnant kids. I'm like, that's not even, like, shocking anymore. It's like you're just telling me the violent cycle of trailer parks.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's it's funny. In Dawsonville, I have a lot of people that I went to school with, and some of them are really successful. I know a guy that's a plumber, and that dude makes he's got a close to $500,000 a year business. He makes so much fucking money, dude.
You see, that's what I think I'm going to promote to my kids is getting an actual skill.
Yeah.
Because college educations are great until you realize it's just a bunch of bullshit. And you're never going to have a degree. Like, your degree doesn't always translate to what you wanted to do.
Yeah, your degree. If you're gonna get a degree, it better be in something that's science or math. It's got to be something where you're gonna actually have value for your skills. If it's not, then you might as well just go to trade school or something.
Well, and you see, the thing is that people have always been putting down trade school. They treat you like being working class or like blue collar is trash, even though it turns out that they were the ones making the big bucks.
The problem is that a lot of people don't do the STEM field. I think the percentage of people who do STEM field in universities is pretty small compared to the rest of them, And the thing is, you all right?
Yeah. Just another thing is, like, my neck's been bothering
gotcha.
me,
Well, the thing is, like, a lot of people don't do STEM, and it's mainly like liberal arts degrees a lot of the time.
And that's what I'm pursuing. That's what I ended up doing, and I regret it.
Yeah, it's some of those degrees are useful. Like, we need teachers. Unfortunately, teachers don't really get paid worth of shit.
And honestly, I have a lot of friends who are teachers, and that's what I wanted to be. And seeing what they've been saying about being a teacher makes me not want to do it. Like, what is it? It's like you can tell kids that, like, hey, I'm always watching you. Like, there's cameras in the classroom recording you.
Yeah.
And those kids don't give a fuck. Like, they'll wreck the room just because.
Isn't that fun?
Like, it's funny because you can't even take disciplinary action on a middle schooler or an elementary schooler to where they're afraid of that anymore. Now they're just like, oh, what the fuck you gonna do about it?
Bitch.
Like, you just want to stand there and hit the kid with, like, a nice, like, anodized baton right in their shins and watch them cry. It's like, that's what I'm going to do about it, you little bitch.
Yeah, get some of that old school discipline on them.
You get the metal ruler out and smack them right across the head.
Yeah.
Imagine if teachers could throw hands.
It'd be a different world.
Imagine it's like, yeah, I yelled at my teacher the other day. What happened? He broke my jaw.
Yeah, when I was in elementary school in the 90s, that was the last time that you could do
The paddling.
Paddling, yeah. And I remember the first day I went in there with my dad. I was a kindergartner. I remember this. They gave my dad a consent form. They're like, "Do you consent to your son being paddled?" My dad was like, "Yeah. Fuck his ass up if he doesn't act right." And I'm just a little kid. I'm like, "Oh shit," And I got the paddle a couple times, man. That shit was not fun. There was one time I was in the principal's office and I was sitting. So picture this. Mr. Gillen was his name. This is back in Dawsonville. So Mr. Gillen had an office in the back, and then he had an office in the front. If you got stuck in the office in the back, you fucked up. So we're in the back office, and he had like in the movies where they talk about how the storage closet is like this little small like rectangular room. That's where you would go if you fucked up the most. And I was in there often. And so back when I was in first grade, I was sitting in that fucking little back office in that fucking closet with a stack of paperwork because, I was a fucking little shithead. And all of a sudden I hear Mr. Gillen like getting out the paddle, and this, the old crotchety fucking teacher. She kind of looked like the bitch from Recess. Remember Recess?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, what was her name? Miss Finster?
Yeah, it's Miss Finster.
Yeah, kind of looked like her a little bit. She goes, "Well, we got little Petunia here. She acted up in the class." And Mr. Gillen's like, "Oh, acted up, huh? Well, I guess we're going to have to teach you a lesson." And she was like sitting there, and before he even hit her with the paddle, she's over there crying, and he fucking whips her ass. And I'm sitting there doing my homework, and I'm just like, "Oh my God."
It's like when you had a sibling act up at home and they're getting their ass whooped, and you're just like, I'm gonna just start doing chores because I don't want my ass to get hit.
But it really was a different time. I mean, the '90s really was. That was like the last time you could do stuff like that. And I just remember her getting that was the same closet I sat in when they went on a field trip in first grade, and I told you about that fucking that little like assignment the lady gave me where it said, if you were a human popcorn popper, what the hell would you do?
I don't know. Probably fucking kill myself.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, I don't know. It was weird. That was a really weird time. Like, I have memories of stuff back then, and I just actually, it's funny talking about stress. I was very stressed out a lot back then because it was stressful, dude. Like, 90s were kind of a stressful time.
I was always stressed out as a kid because I was ending up being the new kid at every school because of how many times I had to move. So I never really had an established friend group for the longest period of time, and I was getting really pissed off as a kid because I'm like, I just want some solid fucking friends.
The thing is, like, that school I was at was built in like the 60s and 70s. It was called Robinson Elementary School. It was really old. And the art teacher, her name was Miss Puckett, which is a really funny name.
It's a really sad name to give someone.
But she was the art teacher, and you went into her little studio area, and this bitch like had some really old school like paint supplies. Like this chick was like serious. You know that little like thing that they use where they put
the circle paint.
Little circle paint on there, like some Bob Ross shit. She had that. And so I shit you not, I can't make this shit up, this lady had lead paint.
That's great. Did you lick it?
No.
Good.
But I remember her having lead paint, and I remember her saying, we used to paint with lead paint, but we don't do that anymore. And she showed us some lead paint. So even back then they still had some of that lead paint. The playground outside was so old. It was like
it was wood and steel.
Well, it was from the early 80s. So it had it had one of those basketball hoops where you would throw the basketball up in there, and it had 4 sides on it, so you never knew what side it was going to come out of.
Kept you on your toes.
Yeah. And then we had the music teacher. Her name was Mrs. What the hell was that bitch's name?
Remember when you had to take fucking music?
Yeah. Yeah, she'd make us sing, and I fucking hated it because I fucking hate singing. And
I always hated when you had to do like the end of your like year concert, and they put it, and like your parents had to sit through that torture too.
Yeah.
Like, I felt bad that I had to be up there, but I also felt bad that my parents had to be there.
I fucking hated it, man. Like, it was awful. And then I remember some of the shit she would make us sing, and like she really got into it, and I'm just like, does this lady really enjoy this? Or does she hate her life?
I actually have a feeling that they hate their lives. Like, it's like being a parent who has to go to your kid's play, and they're the one kid with no lines. They're just the human prop.
Yeah.
Like, imagine wasting an hour of your life to watch your kid go through a play or a musical, to watch them be like the human prop.
Yeah.
You're just thinking to yourself, I could have been drunk at home or getting a blowjob.
Absolutely.
It's like, man, I wish I got a blowjob so I didn't have these kids.
No. But it was an interesting time, and I like looking back on it now, like you kind of look at it through like rose-colored glasses, and like it looked different. I can still smell the library.
The
The
library always smelled old.
It did, and the librarian, his name was Mr. Finley. Dude's probably dead now. He was old as shit even when I was a kid. So
Damn, that's rough.
he was like in his early, no, he was in his late 60s, early 70s or something like that. So he's probably dead. Yeah, he's probably dead. Um, I just love the way he talked. He'd be like, "Bugs,
Bugs.
bugs." I'd be like, "Dude, what is this country bumpkin motherfucker, dude?"
Diabetes.
Diabetes, bugs. Like, I don't know. If we ever get my buddy Anthony on the podcast, it'll be really funny because my buddy Anthony, the guy I'm moving in with, he actually went to school over there with me. So he went to school. He went to school with me like all the way back in kindergarten. So he remembers all this shit. He remembers Mr. Finley. He remembers Miss Puckett. He remembers all those motherfuckers.
Nice. So, quick question: what did you think was like the point in your life where you started feeling the most stress? And it kind of brought it up, like it kind of compiled up to what it was today.
The most stressful thing for me in my life, especially when I was a kid, was my dad, always being afraid of my dad doing stuff to me. Like the repercussions of doing anything would just fucking stress me the fuck out all the time because I would just be doing something, doing my own business, doing my thing. And then my dad would just come whip my ass, dude. And it would just like put me in like a very depressive, anxiety like state, and it was just, it was rough. My dad would whip my fucking ass sometimes. Like, one time, I remember the first time my dad ever beat my ass. I was like 5 years old, and I had one bad mark on my report card.
That actually does. That sounds a lot like something that happened with me when I was a kid. His parents stopped doing any of the hitting, and they just started being more annoying with the fact that they yelled all the time. And then what became more of an issue was the fact that they start getting pretty much like throwing low blows verbally by telling you that you're never going to amount to anything if you go down this way. You're going to end up in a trailer park. And you're just like, am I a failure? Did you witness me as a failure?
Well, I guess that's my point. Is like my dad. One of the things my dad would do is he would kind of do stuff like that, and he would say, "Hey, you want to dig ditches for the rest of your life?" And the stressful thing about my dad is he would always say stuff like that to me, and and as I started to age, get older as a young kid, I would think about that stuff a lot. Like I remember how I thought when I was a kid. I thought I was gonna grow up to be a fucking piece of shit. I was gonna be a bum. Like that's really what I thought.
And we talked about that the last time. Is like, and that kind of brings a lot of stress to where we're at today because I don't know. Do you ever feel like you're just kind of letting everyone around you down?
Yeah, I feel like I could be better, especially knowing how hypergamy works with women. Like, I get worried that women meet me and they don't think I'm good enough, so they want to go get a guy that makes a lot more money. But the thing is, like, that guy's not really looking for them. And I realize that now. They're not looking for them. That guy's looking for somebody on their level.
The always thing that always worries me is, like, am I not doing enough? And will that eventually translate into something horrible like a divorce happening?
The thing is most people think that they are top tier people who can be top tier, but the thing is not everybody in the world can be top tier. It's okay to be mediocre. It's okay to make decent money that helps you get by, You don't have to be this person that makes like a high 6-figure salary or even a low 7-figure salary. Most people are going to make a fucking 5-figure salary for the rest of their lives, and people just have to be okay with that, and the thing is men and women have these expectations, and the thing is it kind of fucks up their relationships because women are over here and they want to have the best of the best of the best, and they're always trying to go up, and guys always want more assets so they can keep those women happy.
Well, I mean, you have to do something, or else you're going to go through the same sort of cycle, constantly thinking that if you don't do any better, that person's going to leave you.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's like I said, that's something that I always worry about every day too. Is like, what if eventually somebody like my wife just decides, you know what, it's really just stayed the same. It's not gotten any better, or I might just let her
Well,
down. Like that's always been a fear of mine, and that's why it's
well,
always driven me to go farther.
here's the thing though. I've talked to a lot of men that are single and kind of live for themselves and don't care about how much money they have at the moment, but they have enough to do what they need to do. And they said they're happy in the long run, not having to worry about shit like that.
See, that would make a lot of sense, but like for most people, I guess for myself, is that it's like when you're with someone that long, you have to consider the fact that you've invested a
Well,
lot of your time, money, and love. Like you've invested a lot emotionally with that person.
but that's where I come in when people say stuff like that. That's where I come in and I say, hey, but I want somebody to spend my life with. I don't want to be alone for the rest of my life either.
Yeah.
Those are the red pill motherfuckers, and
The red pill motherfuckers are sad.
I think sometimes they're lying to themselves, man.
Well, red pill people, the thing about them is the fact that they have no game, and they think they are gonna spit some more game, and they're gonna get more bitches.
Yeah,
They're not though. They're insoles with steroids.
yeah. But you know,
I mean, but then you got the blue pill motherfuckers.
yeah,
Oh, I mean, I can understand why they are the way they are is because they're fucking cucked.
yeah. But the thing is, you don't want to be a blue pill and you don't want to be a red pill. I think you need to be somewhere in the middle. You need to be purple.
I was gonna say that's roofies.
Okay, Rufus. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I think being purple pilled, I guess is what you would call it, right?
Now I would just call it like not being a little bitch.
I think it's called being a normal person. You
Yeah, that's
know,
what I'm saying. Like not being a little bitch is like you're not like red pill bitch and you're not blue pill bitch.
yeah,
Like it's just weird because if you ever listen to somebody who's red pill long enough, you realize that they're being a little bitch.
yeah.
Like they
But
don't have any answers to anything.
But people find what they're looking for too. Like, you met Will. Will's very happy. He's got a really good girlfriend who treats him very well. They both are a team. They work well together.
Yeah.
They're about to have a kid together. They have a nice little family. They're happy,
No, and that's what you kind of want to strive for.
But that's what I want. But, the thing is I still end up running into like these people who are not necessarily right for me. And I have a hard time figuring out who's right and who's wrong because like I said, I end up meeting a lot of women, and it's hard to figure out who's the right choice and who's not who's the wrong choice, because you never really know that person until you really get to know them, and it just sucks because it's so much time and energy you put into something. Modern dating is rough, dude.
Well, and you think that adds a little bit more to your stress overall.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you're still searching for this partner that you want in your life, but you're always constantly given sort of like the shit end of the stick.
Yeah. That's the problem, because I don't really know if I'm going to actually find that person. I mean, I think I will, but, who knows?
I mean, I think you're going to have the opportunity to find that person. It's just making sure that you're going to have some standards in a sense, like different standards from what you usually have.
Yeah.
You're going to have to look for somebody who is driven, somebody who already has a career and wants to advance in that career versus somebody who's just kind of hanging around.
Well, it seems like some people that I meet, they just don't want to, like, I have these ideas of how to do this and I want to try to work with them as a team, but then they never do. Like, they're never really honest with me about what they really want, and sometimes I wonder what they really want. You never really know what's going on in their head, because I talk about what's going on in my head. Like, when I date somebody, I'm like, hey, I'm a filmmaker. I'm trying to make a movie. I run a podcast. I'm also trying to do business with my friends. I'm trying to work this corporate job, and we'll kind of work my way up there and get to the maximum amount of money that I can make at this company. If not, then I'll move on to a different company. It's just,
that there's options.
Yeah. So I have a roadmap for what I want, but then when I talk to them about the roadmap, they're like, oh, I don't know. Maybe I could do this. Maybe I could do that. Maybe I should try this. And it's just like, that's not an answer.
And that's the problem though, and I think that has to do with a lot with what kind of people you're going out with.
Yeah.
Like, when somebody says something like that, I think it's a good sign that you got to get out of there.
Yeah.
Like, when you're starting to meet people who are a little bit more career driven, I'm not saying too career driven to the point where you're a second thought,
Yeah.
but career driven enough so you know that they're going to want to advance in what they do.
Absolutely.
That's a better choice to go for in a partner.
Yeah.
Instead of somebody who just doesn't know what they want out of life. Because when they get to that point, they're not going to know if they want to be with you even a year or 10 years down the road. They might just change their mind all of a sudden. And that's a lot of stuff what you hear about too in marriages is that everything's been going great for like 10, 20 years. All of a sudden, marriage is gone because the wife or the husband just decided, hey, I'm done.
I don't know how people can do stuff like that. It seems so stressful to like have a life going like this and then just change that life on the drop of a hat. That seems like a lot of work, a lot of emotional energy, and it just seems like a lot of just bullshit. And I don't
I
know.
think it's a lot of bullshit more than anything, though.
Well, I just don't know how people do it. I definitely couldn't do that.
Well, one that really kind of stuck out to me is like Bill Burr's podcast.
Yeah.
Where he was reading a letter from a fan that was saying, "Hey, my wife is now asexual."
Yeah.
And what he really got out of it is his wife was saying this just to see if they would get divorced or how long he would stay in the marriage. But, it was destroying that guy.
Yeah.
Like, she said she's asexual now, and that it's probably because she just wants to get out of the marriage.
Yeah.
And she's coming up with a bullshit reason as to why. And it was killing that guy.
Absolutely.
It was like I think it was like 10 or 20 years. They were married, no incident. They had kids. And all of a sudden she decides one day, she's like, I don't want to be in this marriage. How do I do this without telling the truth? I know. I'm going to make up some bullshit.
Yeah, sounds about right. Well, folks, we are at the top of the hour. We're at the 2-minute warning. And, so the moral of the story is if you have stress, try to quell that stress and try to do it in a healthy way.
Find something you want to be good at.
Yeah, absolutely. And try to smooth it out. If you guys want to, you can check out our website, www.dumbcoolweird.com. Subscribing to our YouTube channel really helps with our algorithm. Also commenting as well. You know, and as I said, check out Rumble. Rumble is, we're going to be on Rumble. And, we have that in the links in our videos. And check out our merch store. Also check out some of our social media. We're definitely on all major social media platforms as well. Yep. We have a guy that's kind of helping us with that now. And, we hope to see you guys on the next one. So you want to sign us off, Nick?
Stay sexy, Atlanta.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Dumb, Cool, and Weird podcast with Wes and Nick. If you want to check out more of our stuff, go to www.dumbcoolweird.com. You'll find our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Patreon link if you want to support us. Also, be sure to check out our merch store. And if you're interested in being on our podcast, you can find a link on our website so you can reach out to us and tell us if you want to talk to us about something that's really weird, dumb, or cool. We'd be glad to hear from you. Hope you will stay tuned for the next weird ass episodes we got. Thank you.